Bobby Thompson here with Crochet Guru, and today I'm going to show you how to crochet this Rapunzel hat. So I actually have been getting a lot of requests for Disney princess hats, and I really hope that you guys like this hat, and I hope that a Rapunzel hat will be a good place to start. Also, if you guys have any other crochet pattern requests, I always love to hear them, so please let me know. Okay, so let's get started. So this hat will fit a toddler ages 1 to 3 and a head circumference of 18 to 20 inches. The skill level is easy, but you will need to have some moderate knowledge of crochet skills. Here is my gauge for this hat, and just remember that gauge is important to get the correct size. The materials you're going to need to make this hat: some worsted weight yarn, and I used Red Heart Love brand in the color Lemon, and I used approximately 364 yards. And the yardage also depends on how long you want your hair. You're going to need some crochet cotton number 8 thread, and the thread was used to make the flowers for Rapunzel's hair, and I used the Artiste brand, and I used colors purple, pink, and white. You're also going to need an I-9 hook, a yarn needle, and some scissors. So to find this written pattern and more pictures on this hat, go to the description box below, and there you'll find a link to my website. Before we get started, just remember that the chain 1 will count as our first half double crochet. For round 1, we're going to start with color A, which is Lemon. We're going to start with a magic circle. We're going to chain 1. That's going to be our first half double crochet. We're going to work 9 half double crochets into the circle, pull that circle closed, and then slip stitch into the first half double crochet to join. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with the magic circle. Now, if you're not familiar on how to crochet the magic circle, I do have a tutorial on this, so I'll post that in the description box below. So just go down to that description box, and there I'll show you where that tutorial is. Okay, so now let's go ahead and chain 1, and remember that counts as our first half double crochet. Now let's go ahead and place 9 half double crochets into the circle. So yarn over your hook, insert your hook into the circle, yarn over the hook again, and pull through the circle. There should be 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. So that makes 2 half double crochets, so let's do this 8 more times. So that will be our third half double crochet. This will be our fourth. Our fifth. 6th, this is number 7, number 8, this is 9, and it looks like I didn't pull through the last stitch all the way, and this will be 10 half double crochets. Now let's go ahead and pull the circle closed. And now we're going to slip stitch into our first half double crochet to join. So find that first chain that you made, that first chain 1, insert your hook into that chain, top of the chain 1, yarn over, pull through the chain, and through the loop on your hook. And you should have a total of 10 half double crochets. For the following rounds, we're going to be chaining 2, and that chain 2 is going to count as our first half double crochet. Alright, so for round 2, we're going to chain 2. We're going to place 2 half double crochets in each half double crochet around. Then we'll slip stitch into the first half double crochet to join. Okay, so starting round 2, let's go ahead and chain 2. So there's 1 and 2. Now we're going to place 2 half double crochets in each half double crochet around. Now remember that first chain 2 does count as a half double crochet. So all we need to do is place 1 more half double crochet right next to the chain. Okay, so now let's continue placing 2 half double crochets in each stitch around. So there's 2 more half double crochets into the next stitch, and then into the next stitch we're going to place 2 more half double crochets. Now that will give us 6 half double crochets. Now let's do 2 more into the next stitch. That will give us 8 half double crochets, 2 more into the next stitch, and that will give us a total of 10, and then 2 more half double crochets into the next stitch, and that will give us 12, Okay, so keep doing this on your own until you get a total of 20 half double crochets, and then I'll meet you back here to join this round. So pause the video now to finish this round. Okay, so first make sure you have 20 half double crochets, and then slip stitch into your first half double crochet to join. Okay, so moving on to round 3, I'm going to let you read the pattern on your own now that you're kind of getting the hang of it, and we're just going to make sure we end up with 30 half double crochets. Okay, so let's start round 3 by chaining 2. So there's 1 and 2. So now we're going to place 1 half double crochet into our next stitch, and then 2 half double crochets into our following stitch. And we'll be repeating this pattern all the way around. So again, this chain 2 will be our first half double crochet, so all we need to do first is place 2 half double crochets into the following stitch. So there's 1 and 2. So now we place 1 half double crochet into the next stitch, and then 2 half double crochets into the following stitch. So there's 1 and 2, both into the same stitch. And let's keep doing this. So 1 into the next stitch, and 2 into the following. We're just going to do this all the way around. So 1 half double crochet into the next stitch, and then 2 into the following. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video now and finish off this round, and I'll meet you back here to join. Alright, so again, just make sure you have 30 half double crochets when you finish this round, and now let's go ahead and slip stitch into our first half double crochet to join. Go ahead and read the pattern for round 4. Let's start round 4 by chaining 2, and now we're going to place 1 half double crochet into the next 2 stitches, and 2 half double crochets into the next stitch. And we're going to repeat this pattern all the way around. So this chain 2 will be our first half double crochet, and so in the next stitch we need to place 1 more half double crochet. Now in the following stitch we're going to be placing 2 half double crochets. So there's 1, there's 2. Now we're going to be placing 1 half double crochet into the next stitch, and 1 more into the following stitch. Now go ahead and place 2 half double crochets into the next stitch. So there's 1 and 2 half double crochets into the same stitch, and then only 1 half double crochet into the following stitch, and 1 half double crochet into the next stitch. Okay, so 2 half double crochets into the next stitch, and now I'm going to let you finish off this round on your own, and just make sure you have 40 stitches when you finish. Alright, so again we're going to slip stitch into our first half double crochet to join, and again make sure you have 40 half double crochets when you get done. Alright, so for round 5 we're going to pretty much do exactly the same thing, except for we're going to half double crochet into the next 3 stitches, and then place 2 half double crochets into the next stitch. Alright, so let's go ahead and chain 2, and now let's go ahead and place 1 half double crochet into the next 3 stitches, and 2 half double crochets into the following stitch. So this chain will count as our first half double crochet, and so in the next 2 stitches let's place 1 half double crochet. So there's 1 half double crochet into the next stitch, and then place 1 more half double crochet into the following stitch. And now we're going to place 2 half double crochets into the next stitch. So there's 1, and there's 2 into the following stitch, and now we're going to place 1 half double crochet into the next 3 stitches. So there's 1, there's another 1 into the following stitch, and another 1 half double crochet into the next stitch. Now we're going to place 2 half double crochets into the following stitch. So there's 1 and 2, both into the same stitch. So let's do this again. Place 1 half double crochet into the next 3 stitches. So there's 1, there's 1 into the next stitch, and then 1 more into the following stitch. Now place 2 half double crochets into the next stitch. So there's 1 and 2 into the same stitch. And now I'm going to let you finish up the rest of this round on your own. Alright, so now that you're done with round 5, make sure you have 50 half double crochets and then slip stitch into the first half double crochet to join. Okay, so go ahead and read the pattern for rounds 6 through 13, and it looks like a lot and it looks like it might be hard, but it's actually really easy. So just get familiar with this pattern and then I'll show you how to do it. Now after you've read the pattern, you're not going to know how to cluster stitch, so this will show you how to do that. So go ahead and read this and then I'll walk you through this step by step. Okay, so before we get started, just know that the chain 3 will not count as a stitch this time. Okay, so let's go ahead and start out by chaining 3. So there's 1, 2, and 3. So now we're used to using our chain as a stitch, but now we're not going to. We're just going to ignore it. So the first thing we're going to do is skip the next stitch, and then we're going to place a cluster into the next stitch. So again, we're going to skip the next stitch, and we're going to yarn over, insert our hook into the following stitch, yarn over and pull through the stitch, yarn over and only pull through 2 loops on your hook. Now yarn over and insert your hook into the same stitch, yarn over and pull through the stitch, yarn over and pull through 2 loops on your hook. Now yarn over and pull through the last 3 loops on your hook. And that is how we complete a cluster stitch. And now we're going to place another cluster into our skipped stitch. So we're going to yarn over, we're going to work to the front and around the first cluster that we just made. We're going to insert our hook into the skipped stitch, yarn over and pull through the stitch. There should be 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops. Yarn over and insert your hook into the same stitch. Yarn over and pull through the stitch. There will now be 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops, and then yarn over and pull through the last 3 loops. And that's your first cross cluster. Now we're going to repeat this cross cluster stitch all the way around. So yarn over and skip the first stitch, and insert your hook into the following stitch. Yarn over and pull through the stitch. There will be 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops. Yarn over and insert your hook into the same stitch. Yarn over and pull through that stitch. Yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops, and then yarn over and pull through the last 3 loops. Now we're going to place another cluster into our skip stitch. So yarn over and work to the front and around the last cluster stitch we just made. Insert your hook into the stitch. Yarn over and pull through the stitch. Yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops. Yarn over and insert your hook into the same stitch. Yarn over and pull through the stitch. Yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops, and then yarn over and pull through the last 3 loops. And this will be your second cross cluster. Okay, so let's just keep repeating this pattern. So yarn over and skip the next stitch. Insert your hook into the following stitch. Yarn over, pull through the stitch. Yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over, insert your hook into the same stitch. Yarn over, pull through the stitch. Now pull through the first 2 loops and pull through the last 3 loops. So again, let's work around that cluster and place another cluster into the skipped stitch. So again, yarn over, place your hook into the skipped stitch, yarn over and pull through the stitch, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over and insert your hook into that same stitch. Now pull through the first 2 loops, and now the last 3 loops. And that's your third crossed cluster. Okay, so I'm going to continue showing you this, but I'm not going to go through all of the steps. So again, just make sure to skip the next stitch and insert a cluster into the following stitch. So I'm not going to tell you how to do it this time, but I'll go slow enough so that you can see me, just in case you need a little bit more help. Okay, so there's another cluster made, and remember now to insert another cluster into the skipped stitch. And there we have another cross cluster. So this is what your cluster should be looking like. And as you can see, it's a really pretty stitch. I really like this one. So I'm going to go ahead and show you this one more time. I'm going to show you one more cross cluster, and then I'll let you finish up this round on your own. So again, skip the next stitch and insert a cluster. And now let's insert another cluster into the skip stitch. Okay, so go ahead and finish this up, and I'll meet you back here to show you how to finish off this round. Okay, so to end this row, we're going to join with a slip stitch into the beginning chain. So find that beginning chain that we did, insert your hook, yarn over and pull through the chain and the loop on your hook to fasten off. Now before you move on, just make sure you have 25 cross cluster stitches. Alright, so now that you know how to do row 6, rows 7 through 13 are going to be the exact same thing. So I'm going to start you off by chaining 3, and let's go ahead and do another cross cluster stitch. And this is exactly what we did the last time. Remember, the chain 3 does not count as a stitch. Go ahead and do your cross cluster now. And I'm going to let you finish off the rest of rows 7 through 13 on your own. And remember, we just do it exactly how we just did row 6. So if you feel like you need further guidance, rewind this video and go back to minute 11:24, and there you'll start again at row 6. Okay, so let's finish off this hat by slip stitching into the chain. So insert your hook into the top of the chain, yarn over and pull through the chain and the loop on your hook. Now let's grab some scissors, cut the yarn by leaving a few inches for weaving in, grab the loose strand of yarn and pull it through the loop on your hook, and then tighten it up to fasten it off. Now let's go ahead and weave in our loose yarn ends with the yarn needle. So I'm just going to go back and forth through my stitches, and when I feel like it's secure, I'm going to take my scissors and cut the tail end off. So I do this a few times until I feel like it's ready. Grab your scissors and cut the end. There will also be a loose end on the inside in the middle of your hat, so don't forget to weave that one in also. Okay, so now let's go ahead and tie some hair into this hat. Okay, so for the hair, we're going to cut 150 strands of yarn, 60 to 80 inches long. We're going to group the yarn strands into threes, and then we're going to fold them in half, pull the folded yarn strands through each of the stitches on row 13. Now after you pull the yarn strands through the stitch, form a loop or a U shape with the strands, and now you'll have a loop on one side of the stitch and tails on the other. Now after you do all of this, pull the tails through the loop and tighten the strands into place. Now I'll show you how to do this. Alright, so grab your measuring tape, and what I'm going to do is pull mine out to 40 inches. Now you can do yours at 30 if you want your hair to be 60 inches long, or you can do it at 40 if you want it to be 80. Now you can pull your measuring tape all the way out to 80 if you want, but it's a little bit harder to measure your yarn out when the measuring tape's that long. So go ahead and just double up on your yarn. So pull one yarn strand out to 40 and then double it up and pull it out to 80. So again, just make sure all of your yarn strands are either 80 inches long or 60 inches long. And remember, we're going to be cutting 150 strands total. Now the strands are going to seem really long to you, but once we roll them and braid them and everything else that we're going to do, they're going to shrink up quite a bit. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so before I actually show you how to insert the hair, I just wanted you to see a couple of stitches with the hair in them, so that way you kind of get an idea of what it's going to look like. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take 3 yarn strands, put them together, and then fold them in half. And now let's go ahead and insert these strands into the hat. All right, so grab your hook, insert your hook into the stitch along the bottom of row 13, place the fold onto the hook, and then pull the fold through the stitch. Now place your fingers into the folded strands and grab the loose strands with your opposite hand. Now just pull the loose strands through the folded strands, and then just pull them really tightly, make sure they're all the way through, and that's how we insert our hair. I'm going to go ahead and show you this one more time. So again, insert your hook into the stitch, place the fold onto the hook, pull it through the stitch. You'll have tails on one side and the fold on the other. Go ahead and pull your long tails. Pull those long tails through the fold on your fingers. This kind of takes a minute because the hair is pretty long. So after you get all that hair through that loop or through that fold, go ahead and just pull it tightly. So just make sure you go around the whole hat and insert all of your hair, and then I'll meet you back here to show you how we're going to style it. So this is what the hair looks like when you get it all tied in. Now I realize this is a lot of hair and it's really long, so just keep in mind about who you're making the hat for. So if it's for a 2 or a 3-year-old, this length and thickness should be fine, but if it's for maybe a 1-year-old, you might want to make the hair a little shorter and maybe even a little thinner. So the first thing I'm going to do is take a small section of yarn and I'm going to make a small braid. Now I'm going to do this 2 times. I'm going to do it on the right side and on the left side. So this is going to be my first small braid. And I'm just going to braid a little for you so that you can kind of see the section that I'm braiding. Now I'm going to take another section on the other side. And remember, the sections don't really have to be perfect, but this is going to be the back of our hat, so just keep that in mind. So again, I'm just going to show a small amount of the braid so that way you kind of get a feel for where the sections are. Okay, so after you have your 2 braids, turn your hat around to the front and then split the yarn or the hair down the side. And what we're trying to do is create the appearance of a bang. So you can kind of part your hair where you want it, but just kind of make it so that it looks like bangs. Now what we're going to do is just start twisting the yarn so that it kind of looks like bangs. We're going to twist this all the way to the back. So twist it as tightly as you can because it will loosen up as you go. Now after you do the front, you will be flipping the hat around and you'll also twist around the back as well. After you twist one side, make sure you twist the other side as well. Okay, so don't worry, this is still the same video. For some strange reason, I've lost the footage of me braiding Rapunzel's hair, so I'm going to give you a little sneak peek of my Elsa hat that I'm going to be making, and I'm going to braid her hair for you instead. Now the only difference is when you braid Rapunzel's hair is that you need to leave out the 2 small braids. So here's a picture of the braided Rapunzel hair, and as you can see, I left out the 2 small braids, and I'm going to go back and show you how to weave those in. So let's weave those smaller braids in. So all I'm going to do is just lift up sections of the bigger braid and weave the smaller braid through those sections of the bigger braid. So as you can see, I'm just kind of lifting up some of the sections. I'm going to decide where I want my braid to be. I'm going to put 1 braid on the front of Rapunzel's hair, and then I'm going to put 1 braid on the back, so that way you can see it going through both sides. So again, just lift up a section, grab the braid, pull it through. And again, just keep the smaller braid on the same side of the bigger braid, and this way you'll make it so that you can weave 1 braid on the front of the hair and 1 on the back. Okay, so when you're done weaving in those smaller braids, go ahead and cut off a strand of yarn. I'm going to say make it about 10 inches long, and just tie it around the smaller braids and the bigger braid. That way we can make sure everything's secure and in place. Now I'm going to tie it a few times so I can make sure it's really secure. And if you tied your smaller braids, go ahead and cut the end of the smaller braid. That way it can just blend in with the rest of the hair. Now you might get some smaller strands running through the braid, and if that happens, sometimes you can cut those, or you can just kind of sew some flowers over the top of those and it will hide those. Now go ahead and just cut the bottom strands on the braid and make those even. Before I move on to the flowers, I want to show you a little trick to make your hair look really good. So grab a yarn needle in the same color of yarn, and if you need to twist your hair a little tighter, go ahead and do that. And then start weaving that yarn strand in and around the back of your hat, and around all that yarn that we just twisted. Now I'm going to do this a couple of times so that I can make sure my hair is really nice and tight. And then I'm going to do this on both sides. So that way both sides of the twist is really nice and firm. So I decided to make a separate video on how to make these flowers because I didn't want to make this video too long. I know sometimes it can be hard to sit through long videos. So if you like these flowers that I'm putting on this hat, go ahead and go to the description box below and there I'll post a link to this video. And what I did is I made 3 white flowers, 3 pink flowers, and 4 purple. And then after you crochet all of your flowers, go ahead and find the perfect spot on your braid and then just weave them in. So here's a picture of my flower placement, and just make sure to crochet flowers into both sides of the braid. Thanks again for watching this video, and if you click the picture on this slide, I will also put a link into this picture so that it will take you to the flower pattern for this Rapunzel hat.